Good Thursday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age YouTube channel that talks about all my cars and trucks and motorcycles and the dogs. Come on, hey, come on, Scout, let's go. Come on, Scout, let's go. Hey, the daughter took the chair out of the room. House needs some attention. It needs some attention, but it's just never ending on that. Hey, thanks for tuning in my channel. For all those that watch me, I really do appreciate that. Really love the comments, the support. Those that have to hold their breath, really wanting to post something they really want to say. Hey, I appreciate you holding your breath. I really do, because I'm sure some are like, man, this guy here. Yeah. All right. So hey, look at me today, right? Got my blue shirt, blue pullover, blue Ford hat. It's all about blue. It's about Ford. It's about that vapor blue. Who'd ever imagine I'd be talking about a freaking brand new Mustang a week ago, even 4 days ago. Yeah, I know, it's all about the Mustang, right? Mustang, but just beautiful weather up here. I mean, just such a nice time of year. This is the time of year where you truly enjoy working outside. You truly enjoy the manual labor of taking care of the grass, weed whacking, weeding, gardening, maybe planting some trees. It's just a beautiful time of year because it's not humid out. There's no gnats. And it's just a great time of year to be outside doing manual labor. And you know what? So this morning, the theme would be manual because of the manual transmission vehicle I just bought, which I'm not really usually the person per se wanting a manual transmission vehicle, just because of where I live. Traffic is so horrendous that it just really sucks, to be very honest with you. So here we are in the shop with the Vapor Blue Mustang, and let's get the dogs in the motorcycle collection here and get the morning going. And yeah, it's kind of a continued conversation from yesterday. That was a really long video, but it's just because I like to talk. Yeah, can you tell? And it took forever for the video to upload. It took forever. That video, I don't think even posted until midday. Just because I went a little longer. I don't know what that's all about. And let me get over here and get the another light here turned on. And so, yeah, so I thought to myself this morning, what would be pretty cool is let's talk about the manual transmission Ford Mustang that in so many ways I had such reservations of buying this car because of it being a manual vehicle. And after driving yesterday, I'm actually very happy for my purchase of my brand new Mustang. And I'm actually really excited that I was able to finagle some pretty good fuel mileage. Just start this thing up and get this thing going. This has the exact same noise as the electric cars. What is that all about, right? So this is crazy. Why won't this tell me my fuel mileage? It just did the same thing last night. It just drives you nuts on these vehicles. 24, there it is. I got 24 miles per gallon out of this thing. That is the best I've ever done in any Mustang I've ever owned. I mean, it's incredible that I even for me, and I drove this car. I mean, I drove the car. I did not baby the car. And I have it in sport mode. And this manual transmission right here really is a nice setup. So I just really do like this car. And this transmission is so much neater, so much more easy. And they got the clutch that feels good. It isn't too heavy. It's not too light. Because some of these clutches in these cars is too light or it's too heavy. And a kid was making fun of me the other night that, yeah, it's true. I have driven some clutch cars and my body position, it gets to my knee. And this isn't doing that. Because I drove this car yesterday 225 miles. And I mean, there were some things in this car that I don't even think I even showed you yesterday. They're so cool. Let's start it back up. And this thing has this e-brake. The e-brake is, if you look here, and this stuff here will drive you nuts, but if you look here, you just push down on this, okay? And when you push down, it automatically takes the brake off. Then you just kind of pull up on it like this, and the brake is back on. And then here, I don't really know. Oh, I'm in reverse. Okay, so let's get that out of here. Everybody knows where I live anyways, but let's go now, I think, into the performance pages. Oh, we go here, the Pony. And I think that you have, see, the drift brake. The drift brake, what the hell? For track use only. Turning, okay, locks your wheels when you pull up in the parking brake handle. So this is stuff that's even out of my league. I mean, but it has the drift brake capability and a manual. And it has launch control, has the rev match. So that's so cool right there. And this thing has the cruise control. And yesterday, when I pushed in the clutch and switched gears, the cruise control stayed at the same speed. It didn't turn it off. It's only hit the brake, or you just manually override it, that it then turns off. Doesn't have the adaptive cruise control, which I'm kind of surprised. I don't know why you wouldn't do that, but it's a technology package, so there's more to it than that. But that'll drive you nutty, won't it? And I agree. This here, it's just I really wish Ford would have done more of a nicer retro digital display and kind of left that there for all the other stuff. But it's the times have changed. And is that easier for them to put this dash together? Is this dash more universal, or the tablets more universal? I mean, is that what's going on? And so, anyways, so the manual, excuse me, the manual transmission car here, I'm really actually very impressed on this vehicle, getting the fuel mileage it got, and just the overall ride. So I'm very happy on my decision of buying this vehicle. And wow, I mean, even for me, I would honestly tell you, and here's the thing, if they would have had an automatic, just like this car right here, then the odds are I would have bought the automatic. And what's really interesting, though, is my daughter just really does not like this new generation car. I mean, my daughter just so loves this S550 series. She likes the lines of this car out here. And she likes the regular retro interior dash. So my daughter's very, very happy. And I can't emphasize enough that, boy, oh boy, it would have been a huge mistake. My daughter was going to go with me to look at this car, but I just know how it plays out with me at these car dealerships. It turns into a freaking all-day event. And I told the daughter, I said, do you really want to go spend the day at the dealership? And she's like, I don't want to go and do that. And I said, right, don't do it. And just trust me that I'll make the right decision. And I feel so strongly that, yes, I made the right decision. I didn't get rid of her car, and I got a nice Mustang for me. I mean, this is so nice. Even to me, it's like, do I even buy the Dark Horse? Yeah, I mean, that's just a whole other day. That's not anywhere anytime soon, because the auto workers that in so many ways are the manual laborers that help put these cars together, they're not on the job like they used to be. So I can only imagine that if the UAW, hey Kiefer boy, hi, what you doing? Yeah, hi. If the UAW continues to do what it's doing, the production of these Ford products are going to be challenged. You continue to make the kid, I don't know where my daughter is, but he can't be hanging out with me because it'll be a never-ending challenge in my office to make a video of this guy wanting to eat up stuff and be in my face the whole time. So I don't know where the kid is on that one. So, but anyways, the manual transmission conversations turn into the manual motorcycle conversations. Where is the Rocket? Where's the Rocket? Yesterday, technically, I was supposed to go get that Rocket, but I was nowhere near the dealership. I was in Maryland, and if you watch my video, I was up in Maryland, Bel Air, Maryland, which 20 minutes from where I was is the Harley-Davidson dealership. At that dealership, I had the availability to go check out the new trikes. Just ironically enough, the Harley-Davidson dealership up there at Chesapeake Harley, they literally, the day before, had a delivery of 2 trikes, the RG3s, and I was right in that area, perfect time to go check out those bikes. I really like that trike. I really love the look of that motorcycle. And it's still ongoing, but the one credit union won't buy the deal. They won't do it. And I thought I had a done deal last night because they went through the interview process, security questions to make sure who I am is who I am, and they just wouldn't do it. They set up too high a risk on just too many toys. And what a bummer. And I would have gotten like a 10.59% financing rate. They were saying like up to 84 months. I'm like, I ain't doing that. I'd take like a 60-month finance rate. There's no way I'm signing an 84-month motorcycle payment. No way. You'll never make a damn payment or the debt. So anyways, the ongoing RG3 is still going on. My finance girls are working on some more banks again today. But I would have to say I would say the odds are it's just not going to play out. And it's so aggravating that I'm dealing with this. But here's the thing. There's no Rocket Triumph bike in my garage here, my shop. And I don't know. I think I'm going to probably say no to that deal. I'm going to pass on the Rocket. And the reason I think I'm going to pass, I rode that bike back on Monday evening or Tuesday evening just to get it back to dealership. And that bike is just so much wind. It's so much wind. I just do not like the bikes where there's no fairing in front of me and I get protection from all that wind. I just don't like it. I think some people do like it, but I do so much 150, I do 100 mile, 200 mile rides every time I ride. And just to be in that type of environment that long with the wind in you, I just don't like it. Just like this Indian. I really bought this motorcycle thinking more that this would be my daughter's motorcycle right here. But after I got it in the solo seat, there's no way. It didn't. If you watch the videos, it doesn't look right for her at all. But now that I put the factory seat in, she's kind of back on the page that she'd rather ride this motorcycle. She likes this look more than that look, which that's an ongoing debate. And for the record, the dealership, it's just ridiculous. If I take this motorcycle, I don't have to trade it, but it really makes sense to trade it for the debt to debt because this bike here has a debt on it, and I got to pay that debt off to get the Triumph Rocket. Performance Finance will not carry 4 loans, so I have 3 loans right now with Performance Finance. It's this Indian Sport Chief, Indian Challenger, and then the Indian Pursuit. Okay, and so they're saying you got to pay a loan off or trade something in. So I'm on the page, well, daughter's not excited. Maybe we just trade this in. But the problem is, this bike's brand new. It's brand new. And I talk about this in my conversations all the time to people about how when you buy a motorcycle, it's worth borderline half what you paid for it. And so this bike here has like 150 miles on it. And this bike was $20,000. And then the dealer, so it's $19,999. And so then the selling dealer, well, $1,200 freight, set up in freight, blah, 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 $2,000 more, $21,000, tax and tags. You're basically close to $23,000 on his motorcycle. Very conservative, 22. So the owner is like, okay, I'll give you $14,000 for it. Like, the bike was bought, it has 150 miles. This is a demo bike, and you're going to give me $14,000. Well, come on, we know the story. Where I tell people all the time, these dealers, they'll tell you all day long they're only making a few $100s off a motorcycle. They're so full of BS, it's beyond believable. These guys are making 30, 40, and sometimes 50% margins on these motorcycles. They can't be in business. They can't be in business making $100, $200 off a motorcycle. It doesn't work that way. So the whole point is, yeah, give him back the bike. I take an $8,000 hit, and he's going to put it in his showroom for $18,999, $19,999. He's even wanting me to leave the bike. I just spent, I put the crash bars on, highway bars. Those are $400. This is $600. There's $1,000 tax. You're at $1,100, and he expects me to leave this all on. And I'm like, I don't think so. Okay, give me $15,000 for the bike. No, I can't do that. Oh, I can't give me $15,000. Oh, that's not going to do anything. Oh, get the hell out of here. So very, very, just very aggravating. And what's even really more aggravating is the manual transmission conversations, but I just have to keep people abreast of what's going on, is I got that Indian Pursuit that I specifically purchased for the cooler winter months. I really enjoy riding in the cooler months with a motorcycle that has the proper setup to enable you to ride and enjoy the weather while it's cold out. And when I'm on these tour bikes, you typically will have, like in the Indian Pursuit, hey, here's the Ice Age TV sticker. Anybody wants one, you can get these stickers, and just Ice Age TV comments at gmail.com. Give me your name and address. I'll mail you one. Another gentleman. I put this here as I got to mail a gentleman who asked for us early evening. I keep on forgetting. So sorry about that, John, but I'll get it out. But here's the point. So I bought the Indian Pursuit because it has full lowers that keeps the air off your lower area here. I bought the Indian Pursuit because you can put a nice heated seat. It doesn't have a heated seat, but I would easily... Oh, no, it does have a heated seat. I'm sorry. It has a heated seat, not a cooled seat. It has heated grips. Okay. On this motorcycle here, I don't have heated grips. I don't have the heated seat. No heated seat. It does have heated grips. No lowers. So on a cool day, you really get a lot of cold air on you. And unless you're bundled up like a snowmobile person, you're cold. So I'm so disappointed that the Indian Pursuit I bought for the fall riding into the winter riding, I don't have it. And that's why I talk about this Triumph Rocket that's not sitting here. It's such an open air bike. It's not enjoyable. It's not really an enjoyable bike. Badass, but it just isn't really for me and my riding style. Just like my Honda Goldwing here, this is an enjoyable bike because you got this front fairing. The Road Glide over here, same thing. It's an enjoyable bike because you have the fairing. So if you look at my bikes, look, that's my bike. That's my bike, right? That's my bike. That's my bike. So in the collection here, 4 of these motorcycles are my style bike. My daughter now is learning that having this type of front end really is nice. It's a really nice ride. So she all day long will tell you now that she would let this go before she lets that go. And over here, she'd let go of all of this. She's not attached to this by any means. She'll just stay Harley and be very, very happy. Part of me so aggravated to just get rid of all the Indians. I mean, just sell the Indians. Get some more Harleys. In all sincereness, I would love to get rid of this and get the Harley Davidson Breakout. I would love to do that. I mean, the danger part is I could probably take these 2 bikes. Here I'm talking out loud now. Here's the danger part. I could take that bike and I could take that bike and trade both of those in. And I could probably get the RG3. I could just outright buy the Breakout if I decided to bring these bikes and trade them. But the problem is, Harley dealer is going to give me nothing for these motorcycles. Harley dealers aren't allowed to sell non-branded product, and so they can't sell these. So they just send them off to the auction house. So it's a no-brainer. I just advertise these, and I sell them myself. I've got a person right now that wants this for a good amount of money. This here, I'm sure if I advertise this and I put a decent number on it that was pretty aggressive, it would be gone. And I could just take that and go outright buy an RG3. And then the Breakout, we could finagle a deal on the Breakout with the Street Bob over here, which the kid would part with. So lots of options. But then I just get rid of the whole Indian collection and just, move on. But here's the challenge for me. I don't have my winter, I don't have a winter per se, right? And somebody like, yeah, well, right, you're right. I mean, anybody here want to spend the money? I could definitely put a heated seat on here. The lowers here, they wouldn't be that great. This bike here, I do have a leather cover that does keep the air off you, so that'd be good. I could make these heated grips. I could change the seat out and make this heated grip. So this bike here could easily adapt into a more seasonal riding bike if I really want to do that. So that is the option. But meanwhile, my Pursuit's sitting at the dealership, and what's going to happen to that? Very challenging. And the thing is, that dealership's slammed with always work to be done on other people's bikes. My bike's just sitting there, so how does that all play out? I don't know yet. But anyway, so here's this thing: manual transmission, manual labor, and that's something that for anybody here that really watches my channel, I have been such a manual, physical person throughout my life. I mean, that has been I've not been the desk per se office person. I always played sports growing up, was always into lifting weights, and I just always have been more of a hands-on manual labor person, even to the point that this payphone is buried into my whole collection of dog shampoo and car care products. But this right here was a business that I started back in 1996. And wow, you talk about manual labor. Until you understand that industry, a public telephone, most people, some young people watching this video right now, be like, what the hell is this thing? You mean this is how you used to communicate with people? Yeah, public telephones. That's my true beginnings of really me finally becoming very successful on my own with many, many attempts. Prior to that, through the 80s and early 90s, it wasn't until 1996 I started my own public telephone company here in the Virginia, Maryland, D.C. area, and I literally installed 400 payphones in basically about a 3-year time frame. And I was the person out there literally having to dig the ditches, pour the concrete, pull the phone lines, and the electric. I mean, a lot of work. Brutally, these payphones, these things weigh, I would say 75 to 100 pounds. Those things are freaking like boat anchors. So I used to have the UPS guy literally come to my house and deliver like 20 or 30 of those at a time. And I worked inside my house. I didn't have this shop. This is back in 1996, 97, 98, 99. So the UPS guy, the gate wasn't there. He'd come in and drop off 20, 30 payphones. And then I had to put those things together. And believe it or not, I did a lot of it outside here in this old shed here. Then I had a make-up front room in my house for me to put these things together and program. A lot of detail. Then I had to go out and buy the concrete and build the pads. I mean, it was just an incredible amount of labor. And labor that eventually I had major hernias. And if anybody out there has ever had major hernias, yeah, major hernias are usually created from just very hard manual labor. And it isn't from being lazy. Typically, it's because you've worked your hernias so much that they're like little strands of metal in your lower abdomen here. And eventually, you just break them. They just break. And then you got to have them, put back together. Yeah, I had double hernias. And wow, yeah, you talk about a painful surgery. Some people, it doesn't affect some, but for me, it was brutal. You can't pick anything up more than like a few pounds. And anyways, so the manuals, look at the motorcycles here. Look at my collection of cars. And of all the cars that I have, if you counted all my vehicles, I have 2 manuals now. And the motorcycle end here, I only have 1 automatic. And what are the statistics? I've talked about this in our videos. But the statistics on the manuals for the cars, I haven't got much of my coffee here. Let me get my door open back up here. And let me carry my stickers up so I remember to mail John, one of my viewers, a sticker. Because I'm going to forget. And the dogs are waiting here. They heard the Kiefer boy come in. And the daughter called him back. Thank goodness. Come on, Bubs. Come on, Tang. Hey, you comfortable there, bud? You like that stare? Yeah, my office is a disaster. One thing I learned and I read in Harvard business books many, many years ago, back in the 80s, my true beginnings, I just read a lot. And what they said, and I've talked about this before on my channel, but they say when you work for the individual, the office is meticulous to a T, the desk is meticulous to a T, everything's perfectly organized. That is not the guy you want to work for per se. They say that you want the guy that looks like he's in the rat's nest and in a mess, because that's more the personal guy and more of a people person. The meticulous individual is more the engineer, the analytical, the more detailed. Just didn't have the people skills. And that's the thing about life. You can see here my phone's all screwed up, but whatever. So here in life, you learn that you know people that seem to have really incredible people skills, or the people with really incredible analytical skills. But rarely do you kind of get both that merge into the one perfect relationship. And so for me, when I'm running around to businesses and I kind of see the different personalities, I'm like, you don't want to hire the sales manager guy that's this analytical engineer guy. That isn't going to work. You want the guy that's the people guy. You want the people person to make things work. So the manual transmissions, I've talked about it before, but just to update you, it's pretty hard to believe. On U.S. state side, the amount of cars sold percentage in 2020, it wasn't even 1% of all the car sales in this country of manual transmission vehicles. And then in 2021, it was like 1.2%. And then in 2022, it was the highest rate in modern times, 1.7%. So the manual transmission is a dying breed. And the running joke is, if you own a manual transmission car, a thief can't steal it. Most thieves don't know how to drive a manual transmission car. The running joke is, you go to a car dealership, and somebody goes to get your manual transmission car, that may be a challenge. Because there may be a majority of the people at the dealership have no idea how to drive a manual vehicle. And I think back in the 1985 through 1992, I used to work in the fuel industry, and I had multiple hats. I was the grunt man, mechanic side, oil delivery, assistant home heating oil manager, driver, eventually commercial salesman. And so I used to drive those big tanker trucks that were manuals back then, the double clutching, all that, the 2-gear. You had a little shifter thing on the shifter as you'd hit to go to different, switch the gears out. I mean, pretty cool things in that day. And boy, talk about, driving this metro area. I can remember having to go over the Cabin John Bridge here. I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning to be down at the terminal by about 5:30, have the whole truck fueled up, and be getting on the road by 6. And then I was up at my first fuel stop by 7:30, and I had to go over the Cabin John Bridge. It was so dreadful because they were doing the expansion of the Cabin John Bridge. So I had a 3,500 gallon capacity fuel tank, and I had to go around and fill up the customers with diesel fuel and heating oil, and sometimes kerosene. Just depends on what time of year it was. And so sure enough, I would by like 11 o'clock in the morning, I would be empty. So I'd have to go back to the terminal in Fairfax City, Virginia, on Pickett Road, that's where the tank farms are. Sometimes I had to go down to Springfield, but usually Fairfax City, and refill the truck up, and then get back in the truck. And keep in mind, I had to clutch in, clutch out in that early morning traffic to cross the bridge into Maryland. And then I had to clutch in, clutch out to get back over the bridge, back into Virginia. Then I had to turn around and do the exact same thing all over again. Oh, it was the worst. Some days I would luck out and I wouldn't have to refill the truck. So I would maybe get back into the terminal by 2 o'clock. But usually I didn't get back into like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. And then, back in, people know these stories. I didn't get home till 6:30, 7 o'clock. I pretty much have something to eat and, hit the bed by 9 o'clock, and I'm back up, doing it all over again, 4:30 the next morning, and just driving. That's about my whole life, though. My whole life has been living behind the wheel of a vehicle since 1985. Not right out of high school, and for the most part, driving manual transmission trucks. And prior to that, my first vehicle that my father bought, which was the coolest thing in the world, back when we moved from California to Jersey, was a 1976 British green Datsun 280Z with a manual transmission. And even for me, that was the car I took for my driver's test, was a manual transmission car. How many kids today do you know can jump in a car and go to take a driver's test in a manual transmission vehicle? I mean, yeah, I don't think you know of many, if any. Borderline, my daughter could do it because I put her riding around my property, stick shifting my Ford Focus ST. Yeah, that was the first car she drove around my property, and the Ford Focus ST learned how to shift a manual transmission. And then she got into the other cars as time progressed. And so anyways, the manual sales, the whole point is, the big trucks today have, for the most part, automatic transmissions. And wow, that's a huge, really, convenience to anybody driving a delivery truck. You've been able to sit in traffic, heavy traffic, and you have an automatic versus clutching in and out, because it just wears you out. It wears you down. When you're driving these big trucks, getting in and out of them, pulling the hose, that's a lot of labor. We went through a lot of drivers. Back in that time frame, it was kind of a bummer in some degrees. I mean, it was the pluses and minuses. But every time a driver didn't show up, the owner would then tap me on the shoulder, and I'd be the guy jumping in the truck, go deliver frickin' fuel. And, you got to a point by 1992 the hazmat was all, or I should say, the CDL license and hazmat. I was driving hazmat trucks. You had to have a CDL license. So they were starting then at that time. They didn't have, believe it or not, 1985. I rode around with my friend in the truck, and he basically just threw me in the driver's seat, and I started driving the fuel tank. And then he had X amount of hours with me to approve me to technically be a commercial driver, but not the CDL. But I just had enough hours to, per se, to have the rights to drive a big truck. But by 1992, the laws started to become much more stringent because of a lot of tractor or trailer accidents and driver behavior. So they started enforcing where you had to have a commercial driver's license, CDL. So in 1992, when I was working in the oil industry, I was starting to really rise up into commercial sales and really starting to make an income where I was making, projected to make about 65 grand a year in 1992. And I was really in the process of going to the $100,000 a year income, probably by 93 into 94, with my growth of sales. But the owner and I and others, the dynamics started changing. And for me, but the point is, when the CDL license was coming out, I didn't want to get one because I wanted to look at the owner and say, I don't have a CDL. I can't drive. Because I had risen to a level now where I was 29 years old and getting ready to turn 30. And I was just starting at a level where I was making a nice income through my own sales capabilities. And I didn't need to drive a truck because I drove a truck and did sales to be able to make a living as I was building my commission-only sales position. It took me 4 years, close to 4 years before I started making decent money of having to drive a truck and do the commercial sales. I was working 6-7 days a week. For the most part, 7 days a week. So the point is, when that CDL thing came along, I was so like, I'm not going to apply for that thing. It's like, no way. But in the summer of 92, I ended up leaving a very well-to-do job. And wow, that's a whole other story for a whole other day. But the whole thing is manual transmissions, manual labor. And I think to myself, boy, oh boy, we live in a society more than ever that you're, in so many ways, if you tell somebody when you get out of high school that you're going to do manual labor, instantly the perception of you is, in so many ways, is you're a failure. I mean, it really is true. If you think about it, you hear the parents that talk about their child that goes to the college and the degrees they're taking, and it's the bragging rights. You'll hear, don't get me wrong, you should be bragging about your child, absolutely, that your child has an incredible 3.8, 4.0, whatever it may be, if your status for your grade level. And yeah, I mean, that's fabulous. But then if you talk about your child is cutting grass for a landscaping company, instantly it looks like, well, you just didn't do a good job in raising your child. I mean, who hasn't heard these stories? Or my child's working at the McDonald's, or working at Chick-fil-A, or the PetSmart, or the I mean, who knows? And I should say, more on the manual labor side, if it comes into that, or they're working for some home builder or whatever. Maybe they're moving for a moving company. And so the manual labor is, in so many aspects, looked in a derogatory way. But it's really incredible how a guy named, I don't know if his name's John Rupert. I'm not really that in depth, but Rupert Landscaping is a company that's in this D.C. Metro Virginia, Maryland area, where a gentleman, he's older than me, but very many years ago, this gentleman was cutting grass and, taking care of people's yards and maintenance. And over the years, he turned into a full-blown commercial landscaping company. So he transitioned out as time progressed, and from being a manual labor guy to running an organization of manual labor people. But the guy did so phenomenally well that he sold out to True Green Lawn Company, and he made his millions upon millions. And then he had a 10-year or 7-year agreement. He couldn't compete with them or get back in the industry. Well, True Green could never ever stay to the level of what Rupert Landscaping. The reason I know about Rupert Landscaping, we used to sell fuel to that company. I used to go to their business in Albany, Maryland, and I used to deliver their fuel tanks and their equipment. So I used to go up there and see their operation. And I was always very intrigued about how this person had a really, he was known in the DC metro area as the number one landscaping company. So this individual out of high school that maybe he went to college, is possible, but for the most part, he came from very true beginnings of manual labor. And to this day, the TruGreen didn't do a great job. He restarted his company all over again. So this guy made his millions. He sat in the sidelines for like 7 years, and he just restarted. Rupert Landscaping is back, full blown, and he's basically taken away all of TruGreen's customers. Wow. Here's a guy that owns Coons Moving. This is a major moving, JK Moving. And the gentleman here that is local, right in my own backyard, he once again, he came out of high school, or we may have gone to college, but my inclination is that he was a guy that was moving furniture, manual labor, and this guy, didn't give up. And where he's now known in this metro area is one of the biggest local moving companies. This guy has wealth beyond unbelievable. He's buying up land left and right. An incredibly successful individual. He's probably maybe 5 years older than me. I don't think he's 10 years older than me. And you know what? I can't think of his name right now, but very incredibly successful individual. I know another individual I used to go to the gym with back in the 80s that had a company called Able Moving. Same thing, guy about my age. He moved furniture and blah, blah, blah. Well, now today, he's one of a dominant local moving companies. Do you think that guy is actually moving furniture anymore? He's not. He's an executive. He's running the company. If other people do all the work. The whole point is, it's incredible how so many people take the manual labor in a derogatory sense. But, for me, I'm in a manual labor business. The business that I own and run requires me to be in the field every day, just about. For the most part, it requires me to do manual labor of moving equipment, installing equipment, fixing equipment, and it's a very labor-intensive job. Driving a vehicle around all day anymore. Driving a vehicle around this DC metro area, that's like manual labor. It's very challenging because it's just incredible amount of traffic that you have to deal with, and to do that is not anybody could do it. I mean, think of my brother. My brother, if he came up here, he'd go nuts. My brother would never ever do what I do because he can't stand the traffic. He would never live behind the wheel of a car. He doesn't have that type of personality and temperament. He could not do it. He'd be like, there's no way I'm doing this, man. There's no way I'm going to live in a car and drive around the Beltway, fight all these people driving on the road. He'd be like, no way. He's not going to do it. That's why he's down in Florida, and he does his thing, and I'm up north, and I'm doing my own thing. And my dad used to ride around with me all the time. Yeah, my dad, when he'd be up here, he would hang out with me, and we'd ride around together and take care of the machines together. That was in the payphone side, and then the service equipment side for the gas station industry that we're in. So we used to have long days together and have real, conversations. And my dad was kind of the Rush Limbaugh guy. He'd listen to that. I couldn't do it. I would turn it off. I'm like, Dad, I can't listen to this. It just drives you. It just gets you all riled up. I mean, that's why I just don't listen to a lot of these individuals. It just gets you so revved up. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Yeah, right. So I just like, nah, I don't want to hear it. But, so anyways, the manual labor in today's society, we're trying to transition, as you know, the automation. But what's going on with UAW? That's in so many aspects manual labor. And what is the concern of the UAW? Their concern is that their manual labor positions are going to be removed because of the new advanced technology and the green agenda. It's a double-edged sword. Here you have Joe Biden wanting to prance around with Sean Fain and demand more money so you and I can pay more for cars and trucks and vehicles. But here's the same guy that's forcing the green agenda to transition the jobs away from these people.
mean, I mean, it's just you just shake your head. I mean, if I was at that if I was there, I'd be looking at Joe like, so let me get this right. You're up here pounding your fist to be the supporter for us, but you're the guys pounding your fists to bring in China and the Koreans and every other foreign party into our country to take advantage of the tax subsidization from the IRA, Inflation Reduction Act, aka New Green Deal, and this is they're gonna set up shop in our own backyard in so many ways, take our jobs, and in so many ways, the electric vehicles won't require as many people to put them together. I mean, what's going on here? I mean, what? I mean, you're here telling me you're here to protect my job and help me make more money, but how's that going to work with the future of you demanding that everybody has an electric vehicle? I don't get it. The list goes on and on and on. That anybody here has common sense. So for the UAW, it's all about the manual labor. And here's the thing: it's not getting very far. I don't know. So the latest is the 8,000 guys walked off the job this morning, maybe last night, for the Kentucky Ford truck plant. So there's the first big punch. And what's going on? I mean, it's the ongoing. Meanwhile, I have to honestly say, if you're watching my video, if you went with me yesterday to Chesapeake Harley Davidson, how many Road Glide CVOs and Street Glide CVOs you see at dealership? I saw 4 just in the front end. There may be 2 or 3 or 4 more in the back end. I saw a very, very healthy inventory. If you rode with me over to the Coons Baltimore Ford, I haven't seen that type of inventory in ages of all the Ford trucks. Now, they have a whole other lot somewhere else, just so you know. They have a whole massive lot that's, about the back sides of my property here in that field area and other areas here for parking more vehicles. So in so many ways, you have to say to yourself, Ford, they're probably seeing how their sales are not doing that great. And you got the UAW now that's riding off of the past that they made so much money during the pandemic, the fake economy. The fake economy has created so many fake expectations because everything went through the roof. Everybody's made so much freaking money. Everybody had so much money given to them. But now as the dust settles, I think we're starting to see the reality of what's going to play out. And it's not a pretty picture. And so I'm sure for the big 3, they got to be thinking these people are oblivious to the fact that we now may just have to idle plants because we have too much product in the market. And we actually may, in some ways, need you guys to keep on doing what you're doing. In some ways, UAW could actually, they're saying they're losing billions and billions of dollars. Okay, I mean, I get all that, but at the same time, it's going to make the dealerships have very Spartan inventory at the end of the day. If they don't go back on the job, they don't come to agreement. The Writers Guild labor deal, as everybody said here like a week or 2 ago, they finally came to closure, and it's all good, and they love each other again. Nope. This whole screenwriters, production people, the whole deal has fallen apart. So now all these people that are striking, that if you know anything about the Hollywood fiasco, like who is anybody feeling sorry for these Hollywood people? I mean, does anybody miss Jimmy Kimmel? Oh my gosh, that guy came from the Man Show, whatever. That guy was so derogatory towards women and other just derogatory. So I mean, this guy here just blows me away. This guy gets so much respect. For this guy with Adam Carolla, I don't think those guys are friends anymore. If anybody remember the Man Show, do you remember that? I mean, that was just that was the Man Show. I mean, today there's no way that would be broadcast. Look it up for you watch my channel. But Jimmy Kimmel, the left side of the brain people will frickin' just think this guy's the greatest thing as far as sliced bread. That guy used to run his mouth like you can't believe. So here's the thing. I talked about a while ago. Has anybody noticed the change in the media? Has anybody noticed the change in media? Do you know what is going to be broadcast all day long today? I mean, I think everybody knows that answer. It's going to be Israel. Yeah, it's going to be Israel. That's going to be the broadcast all day long. and the Palestinians and Hamas and Iran and Ukraine war. Zelensky's getting a little worried because he's kind of getting now not the attention he needs to get. And yeah, the Speaker of the House, did I say last week that I think this is going to turn into I can't wait to see how this plays out on how who they're going to elect. Who they're going to elect. It's going to now be actually agreed upon. And then if he gets in the House and he is a speaker, is he going to cater to the left-minded people? Oh, I think we're getting ready just to see, I've said it many times, the chaos, the turmoil is here in front of us, I think, more than any of us even realize. And so the whole point is, I talked about a while ago that it'll take some major event to get Donald Trump off the front page of the media machine hate every day. Every day. Every day. Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. I'm not here to promote Donald Trump. I'm just telling you that the brainwashing, the media is so radical. It's so bad. So finally, sadly, we've had to go to war to get Donald Trump's name, for the most part, out of the front page of media 24/7. And even to the degree, even though Elon Musk is getting called out, Elon Musk, the EU, is trying to say that this guy's the misinformation guy. Yeah, right. Anyways, long video. I get that. I'm going to just go ahead and leave it at that. And I got to go to work. You got to go to work. I sure hope everybody enjoys the videos. Yeah, they get pretty long. Appreciate everybody watching. And I really think that I'm just going to take a pause on the Triumph rocket. Really want to get this Indian Pursuit thing put to bed. And I'd really rather get the Harley RG3 and really rather get a nice breakout. But the RG3 would be the first project. And I think the Triumph and here's the thing, they're building a Triumph rocket next year. So it's not like if I really want one. But what's incredible, I've come full circle from when I first rode that in January 2020. And I just felt like this just isn't me. Badass bike. Incredible power. But riding the bike in the open road for hours on end, no way. I just can't see it. All right, everybody, hey, thanks for watching. God bless. Stay tuned. And once again, hey, reach out on my IceHTV comments at gmail.com. Ask for a sticker. Share the channel so hopefully others can watch my channel and hopefully you gain something from it. That'd be pretty cool. And you just get to see that you can use me as not being... You can just use me when the wife thinks you're crazy. Just turn my channel on and she watches me. And she's like, wow, man, you are not crazy. That guy's crazy. Hey, God bless. Stay safe. Have a great day.